All right, everybody, we're going to be talking about 4 deadly situation riders face: T-bone accidents, intersections, corners, and blind spots. There you go, Cliff Notes. Make sure you guys stay to learn why and how to navigate these things while I'm riding and having a good time on the motorcycle. So here we go. T-bone accidents. We just went through an intersection right there. One of the most dangerous things, deadly is T-boning somebody. Motorcyclists tend to strike objects, tend to strike things in motorcycle crashes. It's not typically somebody hitting us, it's us hitting something. It could be hitting a pole, it could be hitting a car, it could be hitting the ground, single vehicle sometimes, just us. So the main thing here, we got an intersection right now, we talked about that. 4 things all motorcycle riders need to look for is signage. That's gonna indicate that this was a intersection. We have another intersection right here. So somebody was coming out, we see the side of the vehicle, they start to creep out. We hit them. We are now talking about massive injuries. We talk about how to prevent it in the course, which is in the description. Check it out, very inexpensive, take the course. What we don't really talk about too much is the massive amount of injuries. You're gonna have a T-bone accident, you're gonna be into the side of the vehicle, so let's go ahead and go with that scenario. And what's gonna happen is that you're gonna go up and over the gas tank. So genitalia, boom, 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 hits this, ouch, not very good. Femurs, boom, hit the handlebars. Not good. Bilateral femur fracture. Your face is already forward, face into the side of the vehicle. Hopefully you have a full face helmet. If you don't, this chin bar that you would have on a full face is not there. Boom, your chin is gone. You're gonna have no airway, bleed out. You're gonna not be able to breathe. You're not gonna be able to have air and oxygen exchange, carbon dioxide exchange in your lungs. You're gonna die within 8 minutes. You're gonna have all these issues, brain dead in 8 minutes. You're gonna have all these issues just from a T-bone accident. And so when we talk about T-bones, very deadly. How do we prevent it? Go into orange stage coming up to an intersection. Go into orange stage when you see a side of the, signage, because you don't want to do a head-on either. That guy was crossing into my lane. That's why I moved over. You don't want to hit something. The goal is to prevent situation where seeks out and recognizes hazardous situations. Plan your ride. We talk about that all the time on the channel. Subscribe. Next thing, intersections. Kind of the same thing when it comes to T-boning, but there's other hazards that is associated with intersections. We're gonna come up to one pretty soon. So make sure you guys are paying attention to what I'm saying while applying it to my ride itself. Write in the comments how badly I'm riding. I don't really care. I'm having a good time. Intersections, you gotta be watching out. So this is an intersection, it's a T intersection. Somebody pulling out and going. Could be hazardous. T-bone like we talked about. We have an intersection coming up where I have to stop. We have a hazard behind me possibly, if there's a vehicle behind me, it doesn't look like it, that they can rear end me. We have somebody that's possibly turning left in the main road and they accidentally go into my lane and head on in front of me. We have a bunch of different hazards. We have oil on the ground. We have pedestrians that want to run out in front of us. We have all these different things that don't sound like they're deadly, but they definitely are. So if you have oil on the ground, gravel on the ground, you accelerate, you lose traction, and especially on an intersection like this where it's just a stop sign and cross traffic does not stop, and you dump the bike and there's a car coming that you're trying to beat, boom, you got hit. Deadly. You're stopping at an intersection, whether it's a stop sign or a light, and there's somebody behind you in white staged. Oh, that's terrible. They rear end you, crush your spine, life-altering, life-ending. So we have a lot of different situations. So right now we have an intersection. I'm going into orange stage. I'm going to plan my ride, position for safety. I don't see anybody behind me for a while. We got somebody here with a Chevy Avalanche and a Ural. Very nice, dude, very nice. So right now, no cross traffic except for this person turning right. We got a van up there, or an SUV, looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and accelerate. So once, boom, dump the bike, and then this SUV runs me over. That's a deadly situation. So make sure you stop, make sure you look for gravel, road surface hazards, roadway users, bunch of different stuff. Intersections are just deadly. They are just deadly. Too many factors, too many things. Pay attention, orange stage. The next thing that we got to talk about is corners. We were going through a few corners here. We got a corner right here. One's if this Lexus moved out in front of me. Boom, head on. Not good. That's dangerous. So what I like to do is middle, because if I'm off into the left side, which is like over here, I'm closer to these cars. I don't want to be close to cars. I want a space cushion. I want to be able to have just even that little bit to where I have time to react. And I don't want to have to react far away. So if I was over in the left lane and somebody creeped out, I would have to react quickly and possibly get into the far right lane. So I like to use tennis as an example of how I handle my lane positioning. So if you're familiar with tennis, pickleball, or whatever it is, what you do is that when you're on the baseline, that far back line, the goal is always to get back to center, because you don't know if your opponent's going to hit the ball to the left or the right, and you don't want to run all the way across, run all the way across, run all the way across, run all the way across. When you hit the ball, that gives you some time. You're going to move over to the center. That's going to make it to where you are open to do all these things. So just like soccer or football, you don't want to hang out to the right side of the goalpost and then have to run all the way to the left. You don't want to do that. So you're always in the center. Somebody just passed this person. Be very careful with these people. And so what I like to do is be into the center lane, center, left, center, right. I like to be in the center. So if somebody does creep out in front of me, I can avoid it a little bit easier versus having to be all the way over here in the left and having to avoid it way far and make some crazy adjustments. So on corners, being in the center for me is what I want. Center, 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 all the way through. Now, I've already explained in the previous video 4 things all motorcycles riders need to look out for is that road surface hazards. If there's a road surface hazard in the middle of a corner or in the beginning of a corner, end of corner, you can adjust it. So it's easier to adjust yourself from left, center, right, left to center, all these different things if you're going an appropriate speed. If you notice, it's a lot harder to swerve, it's a lot harder to maneuver, it's a lot harder to do anything other than going straight when you're going fast. So just do the speed limit. I mentioned in the previous video, like I said, I keep talking about that one, but check it out, it's very important, is that it's easy to go 60 in a 40-mile-an-hour turn because we're on motorcycles, and now you're like driving like you're a car going 40, going the speed limit, and it's like you have to make it through the turn. How about we just go 40 in a 40 on a turn, make it even easier, and that gives us a huge buffer of skill that we're not using just in case something happens. Let's not use that buffer of skill to add speed. Let's use that buffer of skill to maintain and to utilize emergency maneuvers when they are needed. So you want to make sure you could do that. Okay, so blind spots. There's not going to be any blind spots out here, but we see it all the time in the close calls on the main channel, Dan and the Fireman. We are hanging out in blind spots. Extremely bad. First off, car drivers suck. They are terrible drivers. They're not even checking their blind spots. They have unintentional blindness at the wazoo. They have motion-induced blindness. They have all the psychological things that are happening to them to make them bad drivers. We got side of the vehicle right here. I'm just double checking. Okay. Side of the vehicle right there. So think of the 30-year-olds, the 40-year-olds, the 50-year-olds, the 60-year-olds, the 70-year-olds, the 80-year-olds, all developing bad habits. So if we're hanging out in the blind spot, that is one thing that they don't even care about since 16. They're never going to check it. So why are we hanging out in blind spots? Does not make sense. Do not hang out in blind spots. Stagger yourself just like you would in a group ride. Stagger yourself so that you are able to move out of the way when people do stuff. Stagger yourself. So if we're in the blind spot, they hit us. If we're staggered, they can't hit us. They can cut us off and now we have no space cushion. That's no good. But we're able to not get hit. But if we're in the blind spot, we're gonna get hit. So don't hang out in blind spots. I see it happen all the time. Now I get it, we're over here staggered. They slow down, now we're in the blind spot. It's their fault. We're over here staggered, we speed up. They don't speed up, we're in their blind spot. It's their fault. You notice how it's always their fault? If they slow down and we're in their blind spot, you either accelerate or you slow down too. It's your job to maintain your safety. It's your job to maintain your own control. It's your job to plan your own ride. You cannot accept them doing it. They will not do it for you because they have their own crap. Nobody cares about your safety except for you. Join the Academy, 0 to beginner rider in 3 hours. Here, what we do is we focus on training, road strategy, maintaining your fundamental skills. We got to talk about gear, wearing full gear, how to rescue somebody. And my goal is to teach and mentor you, so hopefully you can teach and mentor somebody else. Be a smart rider. See you around.